Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. We are live for another edition of the Wrestling Underground podcast. I am your host, Chad Portal. Joining me, as always, is the number one fan of Tyrus, Marcus Green. Marcus, how are
On this Monday night, many lies were told.
you? I don't think it's a lie. I mean, it is, but that doesn't mean it has to be. Yeah, we're not Tyrus fans on this show, which is weird because for Marcus not to find a black wrestler appealing during Black History Month is so hard. Like that's like finding a pizzeria that isn't worth eating at least once for me. But we're both very much on the Tyrus can go blow it out his ass train. He's I'm not saying he's a duplicitous person. No one likes him though, not even his own mother. Did the Funkadactyls and Tyrus and what was his name? Big A, Big Albert, the whale, the hippo. What was his name? The hip hop hippo.
Hip hop.
Was that no? Like, seriously, like what was Tenzai's name when he was with the Funkadactyls and Co.
Oh Jesus, he was with them, wasn't he?
Mm-hmm.
Um, damn, I completely forgot. Was it I was finna say DJ something, but that's not it.
DJ Whaley Hef.
DJ Orca.
Oh, that's solid. That's a My Hero character.
Yeah, Gang Orca. Yeah, shout out to what a freak was Gang Orca. Now that I think about it, in that whole scuttle.
He was there. I remember seeing him, but I don't think he had much to do because like his power is really ineffective against ground types. I mean, basically, he is a Pokemon.
You're not wrong. Like, sorry, Blastoise, we can't use you.
Sorry, Blastoise. This is a green zone. We know you're weak against Earth types. Which, I mean, is water really weak against anything? Ask your houseplants what happens when you overwater it.
Electricity, but that's about it.
Well, like, but does electricity affect the water, though? Like, I know it's a conduit.
Yeah.
But, like, does it affect the water negatively? Because it may just be, like, something that, like, it's like a blue lantern. It may just, like, increase things. It may not affect them. I don't know. I'll have to talk to somebody. Because, like, if fish are in water, I'm sure they die when they get electrocuted. But these are questions that I think about. Here's a question I don't think about. Is Seth Rollins right? The answer is always no. So either Seth Rollins is going hardcore into business on his own, which is always possible. He is a Nazi fucker. And if you don't believe me, he had an intimate relationship with Czar Schreiber, who was a Nazi paraphernalia collector. I don't think it's too far off brand to assume that he had sex with her, nor do I think it's too far off brand to assume that she was a Nazi. Like I always said, there's only two reasons to have Nazi paraphernalia. You either A, collect it because you support it, or B, you took it off the dead kraut during World War II and you wanted a trophy so all your friends knew how many dead krauts you killed. I don't think Czar Schreiber fought in World War II. I'm just saying. And Seth stuck his dick in her when he was engaged. I don't respect the man. I don't like the man. So this always makes me laugh. So apparently Seth wants to talk about the differences between Logan Paul and Pat McAfee. Oh, this is going to be interesting. So basically, he was on the... he was on... Oh, God. He was on Outkick. So, yeah, that's who Seth is. He does Charlie Kirk's show. So, yeah, it makes me laugh when I say things like he's a Nazi fucker and then he does alt-right sports talk radio shows. It makes me laugh. I laugh about that. I laugh about that so hard. I'm sorry, but any network that promotes Tommy Lauren, yeah. So,
that little twit. Yeah.
listen, gorgeous, but ball gag. So apparently Seth was on the Outkick show, and he talks about how he and Logan Paul are heavily juxtaposed. And then the topic of Pat McAfee came up, and Seth goes, Pat loves the industry. He shows up, puts in the work, comes to SmackDown every single work, and does the announcing and does the gigs on top of that. Pat, he loves it and wants to get back to it. I don't read that from Logan Paul. It's not what I get from him. So there's more quotes, and we'll get to them. Well, there's one more quote, and we'll get to it. But the one thing I want to say is, Marcus, Pat McAfee doesn't know what he's talking about. And I'm not saying this to be inflammatory. We watched the Royal Rumble, and every time something happened, Pat McAfee would be like, I don't know what's going on. Who's that guy? Who's that girl? Who's this person? I don't know how you can show up to work and not have zero clue on what's going on around you, to the point where Michael Cole has to take time away from explaining the situation to the television audience to explain to his colleague who Uncle Howdy is. Or who some of these women in the Royal Rumble are.
Also, how long was he out? Because it's not like they discontinue NXT and just merge everything.
Right? I think he was August, September.
Like I said, like we said on the show, you could have did a quick catch up on YouTube on the pre-show, which they put on YouTube. Like because when you say you don't know what you're talking about, you literally mean, now look, obviously when he first came in, obviously heavily indoctrinated in the product around it all the time. He was both informed and entertaining, which we don't always get even from the performers themselves.
Tom Hammerford.
But yeah, I mean, he brings a lot of extremely high levels of enthusiasm and theatrics and stuff of that nature. And to that point, I can see Seth's point. But Logan, when he's in that ring, people watching for his athleticism, watching for his daring. He got a Shane-like quality to him, but doesn't always come off like he's gonna kill himself. At least when we've seen him anyway. But yeah, I don't know if there's a glaring difference, except we've just gotten more of Pat. He's made more of a commitment, because I don't even know if somebody like Logan wants to be locked down like that with WWE, specifically with him. I'm guessing he's still fighting, right? Or has he stopped?
Logan, there's rumors that Logan may pop up in the UFC eventually.
Okay.
So his pro boxing days may be over, but his pro fighting days don't appear to be. His brother Jake has a fight, I think, this month against Tommy Fury.
Yeah. So and I think that, to Seth's credit, with everything, with the roster that they have and the storylines here and there, and obviously, I guess, a little elevated motivation, both morally and creatively, since Triple H took over. That mentality of kind of looking down on people who kind of treat the WWE like a sidekick from a celebrity perspective, even if they do put up numbers when they're in the ring or whatever, they'll get certain eyes on the product that wouldn't normally be on there. There is this kind of thing of like, this guy's coming in here and taking the spot of somebody that's been here this whole time, and they kind of treating it like, like we just going steady, but we ain't, we're not a couple. We just, what the kids say, just kicking it. Yeah, they don't. A lot of performers don't like that just kicking it mentality when it comes to guests. So
you could say that Logan Paul's coming in and taking all our jibs. So to be clear, I think this is nothing more, and maybe it's nothing more because Seth Rollins hates everyone. This is obviously building up to WrestleMania. So, like, whatever the rumors were about who Logan Paul was going to face at WrestleMania, I know some people thought it might be John Cena. That's out the window. It appears to be Seth Rollins, because otherwise, why are they going through all this hassle? And then, of course, on Raw tonight, and I don't know this for a fact, I'm just looking at WrestleZone's website, and it says, Seth Rollins says, Logan Paul needs to get his teeth kicked in on the February 13th edition of WWE Raw.
That's true. I watched the segment. Yeah, it involved Miz, so I was half-assed watching it.
So obviously this is to build up to something, but when you invoke just wrong things, like unproven truths or disproven truths, like Pat McAfee's prepared, how dare you, sir? And now listen, you haven't. Well, he's got a lot on his plate. Then you know what you do? You take smaller portions. No one said Pat has to do 64,000 different fucking shows every day. If he can't keep up with the goddamn product, then he shouldn't be doing the goddamn job. I feel like this shouldn't be a hard conversation to have. It's like, oh, Mr. Surgeon, are you up to date on the newest heart surgeries? No, I'm going to just take this Ginshu knife I got from my kitchen, hack them open, and see what we can do. But I don't think you should do the job then. But I have the job, and I have a medical degree, so I should be able to, right? No! And now, granted, this is far less serious than heart surgery. But
yeah,
you can't do the job right, don't do the job.
And it's so weird, too, because and there's such an ironic cleverness to your point that, you know, it's kind of hard to tell American about portion control.
What is it like now? Like 48% of America is some form of obese.
Yeah, and not in the parts that matter.
You know, I'm right there with you. I'm a pinky toe guy myself, just like you are. I need them fat little toes.
It's like
Stop me. Why do you let me say things?
Because it's fun for me. It's fun for me. What can I say? Like, not in the brain or the male's lower appendage, which I'm pretty sure, you know, people would pay for. Like, no, it's in, you know, the unsightly parts that, you know, we live in the era now where, you know, you walk in a room and the biggest tits in there might be men. You know?
Yeah.
It's that thing. Now, but it's also, you know, going to your point about the portion control, we're also in a time now where, you know, because it's an era where it's so many different ways you can earn and this, that, and the third. And maybe this is like touching on a mental health thing too, lightly. Also in a society where it's lauded more for overloading your plate to be deemed a hard worker as opposed to being more efficient taking less things. It's like everybody, you measure once and you cut 6 times. That guy's a hell of a swing. You know, instead of like, no, why don't you just get it right one time? Get it done efficiently and get on home.
Right.
But you know, that's not what a press. That don't get the press. You know?
Grind culture is bad culture.
Yep.
Speaking of bad culture, boo the Elimination Chamber structure. I don't care if it's safe for the human body now. If it doesn't look like some kind of nasty vaginal contraption that will slam shut around you, breaking every non-bone in your little appendage, then I don't want to play in it, damn it. I hate this giant DVD player with the start button. Like, no, fuck you.
It looks like they could literally, the Elimination Chamber now can literally be sponsored by Hyundai.
Right? Like, I've played with Nintendo systems from 1989 that were more dangerous than that damn machine. It's not even a machine, it's just a structure.
Like that first version, that first generation Elimination Chamber looked like someplace Frank Castle would have
vacationed,
tortured Howard Saint in, but not now.
Oh, I love seeing John Travolta with Zach Braff and Donald Faison last night. That was the only commercial that made me perk my ears up.
Oh, man.
I love those three as neighbors. I want that as a sitcom. Scrubs plus Grease. Greasy Scrubs. That's the name of the show. Speaking of Greasy Scrubs, let's talk about Elimination Chamber. It's this weekend.
Yep, Saturday.
I will not be watching it. I will go out of my way, if I hear that it's good, to watch Lashley Lesnar. And if Sammy somehow actually wins, I'll check the replay on that. But for the most part, I don't care. Why don't I care? Well, here are the matches. We have an Elimination Chamber match for the Raw Women's Championship match at WrestleMania. And I'm fine with that. But again, like, this is the problem I have with the WWE. They're trying to make the men and women's divisions the same. And I don't mind equal representation. I mind doing everything the same. Like, don't just do, you have 2 women's titles, 2 men's titles. You don't need both. You can have one women's, one men, or I think that would work. Or go back to how it used to be in like the mid aughts and put all the women on Raw and give them the entire third hour. I don't know why that's not a discussion. I know like this whole idea is, well, we want to have women represent on both brands. You don't need women represent on both brands because they make up 1/5 of the roster. So stop giving them, the same amount of shows that they're on when you're only giving them about 48 combined minutes between the two shows. Put them on one brand, make it a fucking selling point, and let's go. But I don't know what I'm talking about, man. So yeah, you got that, and then you got another elimination chamber match with the men, and I don't need two fucking elimination chamber matches. Remember when the elimination chamber matches meant something? Granted, that was like the third chamber match is when it all went to hell, and it stopped being good after that. But the first two were dope as shit, until Goldberg lost.
Yeah, tell Goldberg, your plexiglass.
And like you had Shawn Michaels with those brown tights, those weren't great, and that little Dutch boy haircut. Ugh. But he still won. Like that was the part that, like I'll watch through all the dumb haircuts and terrible, pants that he has to offer as long as he wins, and that was great.
Yeah, it's weird. Like looking back on it now, those first gen, and I did it, and I thoroughly. That's why kind of instantly fell in love with the Elimination Chamber because it did kind of feel like that like golf gladiatorial type of meeting, arena type of deal. But clearly that was that cage was inherently dangerous to the point where wrestlers wasn't even like trying to hide in interviews that they hated it. But that was kind of the draw of it. I think the only sucky part is, and maybe I'm trying to think about it. Was it always the last stop before WrestleMania?
No, it used to be. It didn't have a set date. The first one was at Survivor Series 02. The second one was at SummerSlam 03. And then it became a part of, what was it? Final Revolution? New Year's Revolution.
New Year's Revolution, yeah. New Year's Revolution.
And that was the case until like 08 when it got moved to No Way Out. And then it became the last stop before WrestleMania. And for a while, they would do the Royal Rumble winner would get the world title match, the WWE title match, and then the Elimination Chamber match would be for the other belt.
Yeah. That's what it felt. It is also for the longest time because obviously the match had been discontinued. That was the closest things that it felt like. Because either they put a whole faction in there with like a couple other opponents, or it'll be a singles thing of a group of people. It was the closest thing you kind of felt like the War Games.
Mm-hmm.
And now, like you said, it's again, just the fact that I couldn't even remember the fact that it was its own thing, just on pay-per-views and not a pay-per-view itself. It shows you just how much they hold the concept. So that's out the window. Like so many other things that they've done to just change the lazy thing of changing whole matches to pay-per-views. Match concepts, I should say.
And it would still have some significance, truthfully, if it was the only one on. But the fact is, we've had like, I'm not even trying to be facetious, 36 Elimination Chamber matches in the last, 15 years? Something like that. You burnt it out. This is the issue that I have with the WWE is they find something that is a decent concept, and then they do everything they can to burn it into the ground. This is the 13th? That can't be right. This is the 13th Elimination Chamber event. Okay, so like I said, that's not right. So maybe we're looking at 20?
Yeah, but I mean, the point still holds because, and now that they've switched it up, and obviously, like you said, there's a safety thing, but the aesthetic in general, because it's that situation where you're watching a TV show and everything, got your core group and storylines, then all of a sudden something gets randomly inserted in there, particularly when we were kids in the '90s. Like, what the hell was that for? No, they need to sell toys.
Yeah.
And that's what it's for. It's to sell this big thing for kids to set up and to do stuff with the superstar toys, the little Mattel toys or whatever. And that's fine. I get it. Everything's about money and marketing or whatever. But that dynamic has changed. Maybe it probably even changed in a lot of ways before they even did the aesthetic change. But I don't know if you could ever get that vibe back. So
Well,
like you said,
so let me hop in here real fast. I said what, 36 of them?
yeah.
There was 32 of them. So I wasn't wrong. I was off by a few, but I was not wrong. And you're right. Like a lot of this has to do with marketing. A lot of it has to do with promotional and toys because like they have two Elimination Chamber toys that I'm aware of. They have the old model and the new model. But also this every year there's always a men's and women's. And I feel like well actually in 2021 there wasn't a women's. You don't need two per year. If you had one, I feel like that's enough. You don't need to oversaturate the match. And they have, and that's why it's terrible. And it's also why the Royal Rumble no longer is as popular as it is. Like, nobody seems to want to say it. Everyone agrees that the Royal Rumble for the last few years have been bad. But nobody's saying why. And the reason why is because we're getting two per show. The nostalgia it doesn't hold long enough, and the novelty of it just doesn't exist anymore. Like, it's so overdone that the hype is gone. Could you imagine if there was two? Oh, sorry. Oh, acid reflux. Those spicy chicken tenders from Wendy's are they're fighting me, and I killed them almost 12 hours ago. So like, talk about lingering shit. Ah, that hurt. But like, imagine if there was two Super Bowls. The Kansas City Chiefs versus the Philadelphia Eagles. Awesome. And then it's the Dallas Cowboys versus the Cleveland Browns. No, let's go realistic. Anyone else? Baltimore Ravens. Like, all of a sudden it's no longer the thing. Oh, I don't want to watch two fucking Super Bowls in one day. I don't want to watch 2 nights of WrestleMania. I don't want to watch 2 nights of Wrestle Kingdom. And I actually like the Wrestle Kingdom shows.
Mm-hmm.
When you start doing too much of a good thing, people do get sick of it. There is such a thing as too much. And the Elimination Chamber is too much of a good thing. So let's see who's in these too much is a good thing. For the men, we got the Elimination Chamber match for the U.S. title. It's Austin Theory, the defending champion. And I feel like this is the perfect apropos time to have the Mean Girls stop making fetch happen. It's not going to happen. Stop making Austin Theory happen. Or stop trying to get Austin Theory to happen. It's not going to happen. Or Grayson Waller. I don't know which one that is. He's taking on Seth Rollins, Johnny Gargano, Bronson Reed, Damian Priest, and Montez Ford. I know you're a Montez Ford guy, but I got to say this is the weakest looking chamber match I've seen since that one with the Intercontinental title with Ryback and Dolph Ziggler. This is not a strong card. Like, Gargano has no charisma. Theory has no charisma. Bronson Reed has no charisma. Damian Priest is tall. Ford has some charisma, but he has a terrible look. And then you have Rollins, who is a dollar store David Bowie. That's how the British folks say it. Seth Rollins is the Wish.com. We have David Bowie at home, David Bowie. So, like, yeah, I'm just this is just the weakest lineup for me possible. Like, just 6 dudes I don't give a shit about. I know you're a Montez Ford guy, and I'm sure you're probably going to be picking and pulling for him.
I'm pulling for him to have a stellar performance. I don't necessarily know he's going to geek out with the win. I don't think they're there yet. I think this is a building block upon his singles thing because they're doing this great thing because obviously, and they do this. We get this all the time with teams. There's there's the Jeff Hardy and there's the Matt.
If you're lucky.
Yeah.
Because usually it's the Michaels or the Jannetty.
Yeah, and I guess in this form for the Jannetty would have been Dawkins, but he's done this thing over the past year and a half. I think have gotten in better shape, and he's been going off. So they've been kind of doing the things of keeping them as a team, but splitting them off into singles matches as well. And I think for a lot of people, they been calling for Tez to go on his own, even when they were still thriving as a team. So, but I think over this past year, they've had so many opportunities to become tag champions, and it's one of those things where the narrative of the Usos going this long length of time as champions is trumps anybody actually beating them right now, which is the same thing that's happened to a lot of people on this show. They probably should have got the straps, but again, it's the they're going long. Reigns is going long with the strap. So I'm looking forward to have a great performance. I don't know if necessarily eking out the win. I don't know if they're going to take it off Theory yet because as much as like you said, he's no charisma, this and that, the third. What he's been doing is better than what he was doing. That's not saying much, but he has been more stomachable in this version of himself. That being said, if I had to look at somebody to take it, I might go with Priest.
Is that who you want to take it?
Let's see, it's Ford, Priest. We said Gargano, Reed.
Yeah, so there's Theory, Rollins, Gargano, Reed, Priest, and Ford.
Yeah, I'll go with Priest.
Okay.
Like I said, I won't normally go with Ford, but I just think it's a bit early. It's a bit early for him. And we know Bronson's just in there to be the monster right now. Like you said, how long has he even been in the company since he's been back? That he's in there to be the monster, like so many before him.
It could be either 6 months or 6 days, depending on how often they've used him, because
Yeah,
it hasn't been often.
yeah.
Marcus, because you picked against a black guy during Black History Month, I am obligated as your token white friend to ask for your black card back. Sorry.
Don't worry, people. It's a temporary thing. I'll get it back. I'll get it back after the show. This happens all the time.
Happens far more than Marcus would like to admit. And I'm only doing this because DJ Jazzy Jeff is part of the FBI, the Federal Black Investigation, and I work for DJ Jazzy Jeff, so
I say my name is ah.
So can we just all agree that the best gag of the '90s was DJ getting thrown out the house every episode? And my favorite was the one where he goes, "No, it's okay. I know the way out," and he throws himself out.
Yo, man, people, the fact that was one of the more entertaining parts of the show, and I think he said because of how it was filmed or whatever, he just did a bunch of those at one time or whatever. But yeah, that was nuts. But it always was interesting seeing him go after Hillary, and I think he got her one episode, or almost got her one episode.
It would have been funnier, and I don't remember how they did that, but I do kind of remember that she had I think it was like a sweet little comment towards Jazzy Jeff.
Yeah,
I don't think that he got her on a date or anything. But what would have been funnier would have been if he actually garnered her attention permanently, and then he didn't know what to do, so he just looked around, put his head down, and walked away.
like when the coyote finally called the road runner.
Right, you just don't know what to do at that point, so you just leave. Speaking of leaving, the women's match is here. So you're picking Damien for the men. For the women, we got Asuka, Liv Morgan, Nikki Cross, Raquel Rodriguez, Natalya, and Carmella. Who's the women's champion for Raw? Bianca?
Mm-hmm.
So then the question really becomes, do you have Bianca win at WrestleMania? Because who you have win this, I think, determines if Bianca wins or loses. Because if you have Liv Morgan or Raquel win this, I think Bianca loses. But if you have Asuka win it, I think Bianca goes over.
I love Liv. Love Liv. But to me, it's between Asuka and Raquel.
Makes sense.
Nat, come on. We know the narrative with Natty.
She's got a new gimmick, though, Marcus. She's the lady with the hat.
That's always fun. Piper Niven's in this, right?
Nope. It's Asuka, Liv Morgan, Nikki Cross, Raquel Rodriguez, Natalya, and everyone's favorite wrestler, Carmella.
Oh, yeah. Well, Carmella's just there to fill a body. For me, it's between Raquel and
Asuka?
Yeah, I think obviously Raquel for the aesthetic of it all. And oh my God, Bianca has to, which ain't really a thing because we know what she's capable of. The girl is freak strong. But to me, her and Asuka's a bigger draw.
Mm-hmm.
Asuka, and this is a newer form of Asuka. This is her invoking some of that Kana vibes that she had before she came to WWE. And I think built up properly, this could really be something they could kill it. And I don't know how many times she's even faced off with Asuka. So
Rarely, if ever. At
Yeah,
least in
so
anything significant.
yeah, so I think this way in particular, since she's recently came back at the Rumble, this chamber could be a great way to showcase her new viciousness with that character. And put Bianca on notice and have them kind of playing a lot of good games back and forth leading up into WrestleMania and get Oscar back to a place of relevance.
The problem is, I don't think you can get her back to relevance if you have her lose at WrestleMania. Because, like you said, she just came back at the Royal Rumble with this new gimmick.
Yeah,
So, like, if you really want to have Asuka go over, and Asuka's, like, starting to get up there. I think she's 39, 40.
yeah,
She's 41, and she wrestles a very physical style. So, like, you're not going to have, I don't even think saying she's prime Asuka anymore is fair because as a physical performer, I don't think she's the same that she used to be. Like, you just, with that style, you break down fast. Like,
yeah,
I know everyone likes to, like, joke about Murder Grandpa Minoru Suzuki being in his 50s and still being as good as ever. He's not as good as ever. He's very slow compared to what he was. But he's good enough in what he does that he can still hang around with the headliners. I think Asuka's getting to that point. So I don't know if I want Asuka to go over because they need to start making new stars, and Raquel Rodriguez kind of makes the most sense to me. I'm not making any official predictions because I don't intend on watching.
yeah,
So,
yeah.
so Raquel Rodriguez debuted with the WWE. She never did indie work.
Yeah, she came up through NXT, right? Yeah, so that's interesting.
She's a basketball player. Speaking of basketball players, Sami Zayn, he's not one, but he can jump. Sami Zayn's jumping up to take on Roman Reigns at the Elimination Chamber. I don't think the Honorary Usi is going to be very Usi on Usi Elimination Chamber. But I would like to see it, but I don't think it's going to happen. Marcus, do you have Reigns or Zayn going over?
This is interesting because under this new creative banner, if you will, I've been pleasantly surprised by certain things, but also there's the natural logical wrestling narrative that still holds to me between the number with his reign and no pun intended and everything we got with that great promo exchange between Heyman and Cody. I think that was last week. The larger narrative is with Reigns and Rhodes for Mania.
Mm-hmm.
This story, and particularly in Montreal, and obviously you got the Usos and whatnot playing into it. I think it's gonna be high drama, hella stuff, but I think Reigns retains. I think it's one of those situations where Zayn is gonna be a mere hair away, and then some kind of way something's gonna happen with the Usos, uh, or something to that effect. Something's gonna go down, but I think Zayn is just gonna be a hair away, and you're gonna get another disappointment situation in Montreal. Because like I said, you got two things going against him. One, Rose and Reigns is a bigger draw, even with the story that's been going on, and two, that we know that the company got a numbers fetish. They love them long range breaking records and whatnot, and so be a hell of a match, hell of a night. Saying that crowd's gonna be all on his beard, but yeah, that got Reigns retaining.
Uh,
But if he knock him off, it might be the upset of the year.
I think it might be the biggest upset since Eddie Guerrero in wrestling, not just in the WWE.
Mm.
You're not fighting your demons, Eddie. You're fighting me. Such a great line. Oh, Brock Lesnar had so many great lines. Welcome to Suplex City, bitch.
That just was a great exchange. Eddie could always evoke emotions, verbally, and he had this thing where, and Cody got it too, but it's just that Latino flair where it looked like he was about to cry, and then he just channeled it into like that anger, like that whole gear he kicked into was great, and then Because that was like the first taste we got of Lesnar when because he didn't have Paul at that point.
Right.
So he was just like, yeah. What we getting with Lesnar now, we got with Lesnar even back then in a way. But, coming off of that Latino, the Heat and Fire exchange, it was great. Yeah.
So we got Edge and Beth taking on Finn Balor and Rhea Ripley. I think Edge and Beth go over because for some reason the WWE doesn't want to actually put any significance behind their heel stables. So.
Yeah, they do a win, and I feel like both parties, because Beth is seemingly retired. Beth is retired. And I feel like, Edge is kind of alluded to, what we're seeing with him is like his last slew of matches, if you will, before he calls it a day. So, he's been putting over a lot of talent and whatnot, but narratively, him and his wife is kind of over the win, specifically when I think he lost an I Quit match to Finn when they was about to crush her skull. So, yeah, they kind of do a win. But then again, you never know, man. That slick jailbird might come in and change the tide again, because Dominic get hard time.
We're talking about Dominic Depp, Crybaby 2 over here.
Dominic Depp. You gotta tweet that. That was brilliant. Dominic Depp.
I mean, he looks like Crybaby, so Bobby Lashley versus Brock Lesnar, the real main event of the show. Should be on WrestleMania because, that would be smart, but apparently we can't have nice things, so here we are. I got Lesnar going over to get his win back, although I'm not making official predictions, so I don't know. Marcus, are you going to pick against two black guys on the same card during Black History Month?
Oh, God. Well, I've been backed into this corner
yes,
tonight.
You have.
I feel like Steve in that alleyway with that garbage can. I could do this all day. I really can't. This Black History thing is killing me. Because earlier I was like, oh yeah, Tyrus is black. He's a god.
And we're not doing a racial draft. We will not trade you for him.
You keep that guy over there. Oh.
We'll give you Roseanne Barr for him, but that's about it.
Jesus Christ. But yeah, I can see. Yeah, man. I gotta go.
Okay, I got a trade for you. Tyrus, Megan Good. What's her name from Scandal? God, I can't remember.
Yeah, Kerry Washington.
Kerry Washington and Idris Elba for Roseanne Barr, but Tom Hanks. See?
Wait a minute. I'm trying. Tyrus, the two women.
Yes, and Idris Elba for Roseanne Barr, Tom Hanks. I'll even throw in Colin Hanks, who is the son of Tom Hanks that isn't a screw up.
Can you give me a better white woman?
No, because I feel like Tyrus and Roseanne Barr cancel each other out in the suck.
You're like, we need something to offset the Tyrus. I get it. I got it. Could have been worse. You could have said Melissa McCarthy. So I guess I'll take Roseanne. At least I can laugh. Jesus.
I don't find either of them funny. They're the same person to me, so you can have both. I'll throw in Melissa McCarthy as an add-on. Whenever you buy a video game and they throw in like one of those cheap shovelwares just because they want to get rid of it.
No, you're not getting off of that. I'll take Jenny McCarthy.
You know what? I'm not against that trade because she's crazy too, and I'm pretty sure she's related to Melissa McCarthy.
Oh, for fuck's sake!
I think they're cousins.
At least she had a Playboy.
Several Playboys.
Yeah, shout out to her. So I can appreciate it from that angle. Those angles, I should say.
Okay, but do we have a trade?
Damn, you had to throw in Megan Good, you're evil. So many other people that you could have chosen. God damn, I can't give away Megan Good. I think she's hitting her 40 and she's the finest she's ever been. And this is after she being with the preacher.
Okay, hang on. I'm not a man that isn't negotiable. I don't know if you know who she is, but Donna Davis. She's kind of like a combination of
Place of making good.
yeah, in place for Megan Good to make the trade work.
I can do that. I can do. Where do I know her from?
Well, she looks like a combination of Tisha Campbell and Megan Good anyway.
Yeah, I'm talking about.
She's like the daughter of both those two.
But what media? I'm talking about. Like what shows am I doing? Where do I know her from?
Well, I know her from Franklin and Bash because I've been watching that.
Gotcha.
But I don't know if that's okay. But also, hang on. I'm willing to give you back Megan Good in exchange for Donna Davis. But also, I'm gonna need Foxy in this.
Okay,
Can you give me Alicia Fox in the trade as well?
got it.
So here's the official trade. Are we in agreement with this trade? You get Roseanne Barr and Tom Hanks and Colin Hanks and Jenna McCarthy. I think that's everyone on that side. And I get back Donna Davis, Idris Elba, Tyrus. Um, damn it, help me out here. What was Scandal's name again?
Kerry Washington.
Kerry Washington, thank you. And Alicia Fox. And I don't know how this will work, but I'll also throw in a third-round pick.
I'm digging it. What's the third round pick? Because it's looking heavily unmelanated on my side.
Well, you get to claim them now. It doesn't matter if they're unmelanated or not. You get to claim them as black. I guess the third round pick could be for anyone who hits 18, but you have to wait until they're 21. I guess that's how we can convey that pick. You have to wait until their 21st birthday, and you can have a player to be named later.
Okay, how old is Jen Ortega?
She's Hispanic. We do not have the rights to that one.
She she played that pale part a little too well. I was like, no, she's white. Um,
You can cash in the third round pick at a later date. You don't need to use it now.
gotcha. Okay, yeah, I get that. Trey. It's funny. You gave me the two Hanks and the one kid that I probably identifies as black.
Well, listen, we're not trying to ruin your franchise.
Exactly. Yeah, I'll take yeah.
So,
Mr. Rogers and his other kid. Yeah.
all right. So welcome Kerry Washington, Donna Davis, Alicia Fox, Idris Elba, and Tyrus to the white people community. You're officially white. Enjoy the privilege.
Oh man.
We need to get we need to find some Hispanic friends so we can do a three-way trade at one point.
Hilarious.
Uh,
So I think Blurby might take it.
well, you did just redeem the black community by adding some hitters to the group. So
Exactly.
so taking Bobby Lashley, I guess, is fair.
I gotta be fair and take Lashley. Although I do think it's most hilarious thing in the world. All them years he was calling for Lashley in all these interviews, and now he, he's got more. Lashley been calling for Lesnar all them years, and now he's probably got more Lesnar than he could have ever wanted. Like he's got more Lesnar in his face in these last however many months.
What I want is a Hell in a Cell Lashley Lesnar match,
Oh, that's money.
right?
Oh, that's
But like 0-2 Lesnar, where he's willing to do like chin ups on the low bar and kicking people.
and shooting stars.
There it is. That's how you do it.
And we get ECW Lesnar who's jumping, breaking down the sides of the cage.
Oh yeah, ECW Lashley.
Yeah, ECW Lashley. Yeah,
Hell yeah, that's it. That's the match I want. Cage jumping, cell dangling, hoss fights.
yeah. Give me that Lesnar that countered a tombstone and transition Taker from a tombstone to an F5. You know that type of freak strength? Taker ain't never been little. Like that's some freak strength. Yeah, but give me that Lesnar versus ECW Lashley, because that, like, I feel like he was even bulkier than he is now. Uh, but yeah, them was some times to watch. Yeah.
Speaking of times, AEW is talking about doing more times, more pay-per-view times, that is. Tony Khan would consider adding more AEW pay-per-views if current ones retained premium top-end quality. I don't know how many they're running per year. I want to say it's either 4 or 5.
Let's see, Forbidden Door, All Out. Um, what is Fighter Fest?
Fighter Fest.
Yeah, Fighter Fest. Uh, then what? Forbidden Doors now a thing, right?
Well, that may have been a one-time thing. So, well, actually, hang on. The quote says there are different ways to deliver shows now within the streaming economy, but I think in the current setup, we have a great calendar. If the delivered method changed or streaming enters the conversation for AEW, because an AEW streaming platform is something I get asked about every day. I think right of us, the way we're doing pay-per-view makes sense, but if the right offer came along on streaming to expand the calendar, there's something we have the capacity to do. I would only want to do it if we can make sure that we keep Revolution, Double or Nothing, Forbidden Door, All Out, and Full Gear as premium top-end events that they are right now. So that there's 5. So there's Revolution, Double or Nothing, Forbidden Door, All Out, Full Gear. So Fyter Fest, I think Fyter Fest is like a smaller show that they do for Dynamite sometimes. It was its own pay-per-view back before they had a TV deal. But the only other times I remember seeing Fyter Fest outside of that were when it was like taped for the shows. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
So there's 5. So Marcus, streaming, pay-per-view, whatever. The question that I'm asking is, do you think AEW should expand their pay-per-view calendar? Because I feel like 5 or 6 pay-per-views per year is actually a pretty solid idea.
I mean, that's what they got now. What, like 5 or 6, right?
Yeah, 5.
To me, I think that's a solid number. That's a safe, solid number. We've seen, Impact out theirs back, and it's allowed so much more opportunity for, build story and tension and everything. And because of that, it's made this show so much better. They've really been, stuff to watch. I feel like they had a banner year last year with those shows. And they kicked it off with some great stuff this year. But I think that's enough. I think, All Out, good name for the shows. And then they do these little specialty shows where they have like I forgot exactly what they call them in AEW.
Like Battle for the Belts.
Yeah, that Battle for the Belts, and a couple other things. I think that's a solid number. Any more than that is overkill. They already got 2 shows a week. They got the stuff on the YouTube and stuff. There is such thing as oversaturation, and I get it. You want to strike while the iron's hot. But like as you stated earlier, too much of a good thing can be bad.
I think doing 6 pay-per-views a year is maximum. And then on the off month, you do a big-time TV show. So like your Battle for the Belts or your Fyter Fest or what have you. And that, or like your Winter's Coming. And then the next month you do your pay-per-view. That's what I would do. And I think that's mostly what they do, but I don't follow the product enough to really be able to say that's their thing. The other thing that they're doing is bring back starting, I should say, live events. Apparently, Jeff Jarrett's going to be heavily involved. Let's see. It's great. We have these great opportunities. We have a great team working on it when talking about the live events. We've had great AEW live events. I've worked closely with Rafael Morphy. I think I'm saying that right. Morphy or Morphy. And the team for a long time. Now we've had, on top of that, we brought on Jeff Jarrett, who is one of the greatest minds in pro wrestling on the personal side, but also in the ring. What a strategist, and truly still one of the best. It's great to have Jeff Jarrett wrestling in big matches. You see Jeff Jarrett out there almost Wednesday night. I think the writer meant to put in almost every Wednesday night on TBS. He's come in and been a great wrestler for us. I have so much respect for his mind in and out of the ring. And also on the promotional side, he's had a great impact Tony, you witty cunt. He's had a great impact on our live event business, and Jeff is a great person to have in my locker room. And I love working with him, but also the live event business, I think, will add a lot. And the house rules is the next step. I started this movement, and that's why I enjoyed working with him on it. So Jeff Jarrett apparently is going to have a lot to do with the house rules. Raphael Maffei and I had put on our event with our team in Jacksonville. That was actually our first quote-unquote house show. The house always, and now it's become almost mythical because I've never released the tape. I'm waiting for the right time, but people still talk about it. For example, the main event was a TNT championship match between Darby Allin versus The Butcher. The Butcher he was dominating the action. He ended up getting injured, and he had a hand injury that not only put him out of the music business, where he's a big name, but also out of the tag team wrestling business. It's great having him back. So, Marcus, are you buying the Jeff Jarrett revival? Because apparently no one hates Jeff Jarrett anymore. And I love it because he's JEFF, JARRETT. Or if you watched Hey EW this week, it's GEOFF, or it's GEOFF, JARRETT. Because apparently RJ City couldn't say Jeff properly.
Hilarious. Yeah, I mean, look, Jarrett's, that wisdom, that tenure in the business is you can't really compare or take that into account when you got such a young roster and whatnot. It's kind of invaluable in so many ways. Have guys like him, Jericho, and others around for those guys. So I get it, and if he really is moving numbers like that, doing that, it's great. And he's been, in the spot they had it in, he's really been working. So if he says it and is actually doing it, go with it.
So you have the Guns as the new AEW Tag Team Champions, and they recently re-signed with the company. But a lot of people aren't happy that the Guns won the belts, defeating their father's team that they're managing, or that he's managing, the Acclaimed. Are you mad that the Ass Boys defeated Daddy Ass and his boys?
Not mad because I wasn't super invested like that, but it did come as a shock because I didn't expect them to take it off to Acclaim this soon. But because of the way they were teasing dissension with Daddy's Ass loyalties between his boys and then his boys, it works in that continued context. So they might do a thing where they do it back and forth. Which we hate seeing hot potatoes with any titles, or the game of hot potatoes, I should say, with any titles. But if this works towards the larger story that they tell and they pay it off properly, I won't mind it so much. But that audience was distraught. Like for them, for that AEW thing, that was like, wait a minute, take a loss? What? Like it was that on obviously a far smaller scale. But yeah. So.
I am not as invested in either person enough to be mad, so there's that. New Japan's announced their New Japan Cup. The 03 bracket's going to feature Sonata taking on Taichi, Kenta versus Tetsuya Naito, Phantasmo taking on Chase Owens, Ren Narita versus Evil, Jeff Cobb versus Toru Yano, Mark Davis versus Will Ospreay, Yoshihashi versus Kyle Fletcher, Hiroki Goto versus, Will Ospreay's not taking on Mark Davis. I screwed this up a little bit. So it's not a Taichi, and then it's Naito Phantasmo, and then it's Narita Evil, and then it's Yano Davis, with Kenta, Chase Owens, Jeff Cobb, and Will Ospreay getting a bye to the next round. And then we have Yoshihashi versus Fletcher, Shingo Takagi versus Aaron Henare, David Finlay versus Tomohiro Ishii. And then you have Shota Umino taking on Yujiro Takahashi. All right, there it is. With Hiroki Goto, Tama Tonga, Great Okan, and Zachary Sabre Jr. getting a bye to the next round. Marcus, it's a 16-day tournament starting March 5th, ending the 21st. I'm almost positive that's nearly the same exact time that the World Baseball Classic will be happening. And I think it's the March 7th to the 21st or 24th. That's pretty funny. The winner of the tournament will get a shot at the champion, Kazuchika Okada, at Sakura Genesis on April 8th. So, Marcus, with the names I mentioned, and I will repeat them if I need to, who do you want to see go on to face the great Okada at Sakura Genesis? Because I would say the big names are probably Kenta, Chase Owens, although not really so much Chase Owens, Jeff Cobb, Will Ospreay, Zachary Sabre Jr., Great Okan, Tama Tonga, and Hiroki Goto, as those are the names that have the bye.
Yeah, for me, I'm pulling with my two guys. I'm going with Tonga, and as always, I'm a Hiroki Gotoist. So yeah.
I'm surprised you're not going with Takahashi. uh... So, hang on. Let me see something. So I don't see Peter. That's depressing. And I don't see your favorite wrestler. I'm a little surprised.
You said that you didn't see Peter. That's my favorite New Japan performer.
Are you sure about that?
Shingo just lost the title shot, I think.
All right, of all the names that aren't the big ones, you got Are you sure it's not Taichi? Marcus, are you sure you're not picking your favorite Taichi?
She's like, screw him and that night.
But Marcus, he sings. And he has bleach blonde hair. I know he's your favorite. So of the non-big names, I think Sonata, you got Naito. Although he's kind of on the downswing. That's why he's not being represented as he once was. Ren Narita, Jeff Cobb. Let's see. Aaron Hanare. And Shota Umino. I think there's maybe a name in that grouping that can make it. And it's either going to be Narita or Umino. But we'll see when the tournament happens. I don't know why they feel the need to do this weird ass bracket. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. You have 24 wrestlers. But it would make more sense to have 32 wrestlers or 16 wrestlers. But what do I know? Speaking of wrestlers, Tanahashi versus Okada, the rivalry that'll never end, is coming to the United States on February? Nope. When is that? When is the damn show? On February 18th. There it is. It'll be Okada versus Tanahashi in San Jose for a Battle in the Valley. Who are you excited about this to come to the shores of America? It is San Jose. There it is. This is a big old match for San Jose. What do you think, Marcus? Did I lose you, Marcus?
And we're back.
Okay. Okada Tanahashi, San Jose, world title. Biggest rivalry probably in New Japan history, or at least one of. Coming to the U.S., Marcus, how are we feeling about this?
I dig it. Tale as old as time, song as old as rhyme. The fight forever feud. I think the first time I watched New Japan full on was that. What was that? Was that Wrestle Kingdom 9 where he sent Okada crying to the back?
I think so.
Yeah. So yeah, U.S. fans need this, and hopefully this is not old new hat to them because I would imagine like a lot of people tune in for Wrestle Kingdom every year anyway. So um, yeah, I'm glad to see we get it on our soil, I guess.
Here's the first two matches. These are going to be the pre-show matches. You got David Finlay versus Bobby Fish, and you have J.R. Kratos taking on Alex Coughlin. The first match is going to be Mascara Dorada, Josh Alexander, Adrian Quest, and Rocky Romero versus Kushida, Kevin Knight, Volador Jr., and the DKC. We also have a Filthy Rules match. Tom Lawler versus Homicide. Eddie Kingston will be taking on Jay White in what may be Jay White's last New Japan match. New Japan World Television Championship match is Zachary Sabre Jr. versus Clark Connors. Then we got the New Japan Strong Tag Team Championship match. It's going to be the Motor City Machine Guns versus the World Class Wrecking Crew. The New Japan Strong Openweight Championship will feature Fred Rosser, the former Darren Young. Make Darren Young great again. Taking on Kenta. The IWGP Women's Championship match will feature Kyrie versus Mercedes Moné, the former Sasha Banks. And the main event is Okada Tanahashi for the IWGP World Heavyweight Championship. So that's the card. Marcus, do we think Jay White's popping up in WWE after this show? Because he lost his loser leaves town match in Japan not that long ago. I think it was over the weekend, actually.
I don't know. I mean, you certainly got nothing but options, but I don't know if maybe I'm assuming too much here. I don't know if he's fit in WWE. He might very well fit. I mean, he's done on a scourging, if you will, super successful. But yeah, I just don't know how he'd. I'd be anxious for him interacting with the roster, and then also there's ties to the club there with Balor, and then AJ whenever he comes back. But White's a solo act. I think he's one of the better antagonists that we get to see in wrestling. So to me, if he had to be any less of the guy he cultivated in New Japan, I feel like he'll be doing himself a disservice.
Very true. Apparently, AEW's interested, and Impact may have some interest in him. I would love to see him in Impact, just to help raise the profile. So hopefully that ends up happening. But at this point, who really knows? Then we have. I already had this up twice. Never mind. Then we have the NWA, Marcus. We got to talk about Nuff Said. Yikes. For some reason, they're really going all in with Tyrus. He had a commercial on the Super Bowl. He popped up with Greg Gutfeld. So, that's a thing. I didn't see the commercial, but according to WrestleZone, Tyrus appeared in a commercial during Super Bowl LV, what is that, 52? 47? 57. The hell is the L? Marcus, is an L a 40 or a 50?
I want to say it's a 50, but I could be wrong.
50.
It's 50?
Yeah, so 57. Where the Kansas City Chiefs defeated the Philadelphia Eagles. Cyrus wearing a chainmail that may have reminded fans of Scott Steiner was seen during an advertisement for Gutfeld. Show that airs on Fox Nation. In the commercial, he had the NWA Championship with him. Tyrus often appears on the show and is also the co-host of the Fox podcast, Tyrus and Timph. So we have a candidate for the worst commercial of the weekend. There you go, right there. I have no questions. I do, but not for you. Just so many questions. Here's what happened at Nuff Said. The card that featured 14 matches. None of them, well, two of them, 3 of them went over 12 minutes. So we had 4 pre-show matches. La Rosa Negra defeated Misa Kate. Dak Draper and Mims defeated the Outlaws, Jack Stain and Blake Bulletproof Troop. Odinson defeated Joe Alonzo. Mirakiro and Natalia Markova defeated Genocide and Max the Impaler. Starting the show, we had the Singapore Cane match with Thom Latimer defeated Fodder by submission. I don't know who Fodder is. There you go. NWA Junior Championship match, Junior Heavyweight Championship match with Kerry Morton with Ricky Morton defeating Alex Taylor with Danny Deals by pinfall. Thrillbilly Silas Mason defeated Kratos by referee stoppage in a singles match. Thrillbilly just signed an exclusive deal with the NWA following the show. The Renegade Twins, Charlotte Renegade and Robin Renegade defeated Pretty Empowered, Kenzie Page, and Ella Envy to win the NWA Women's World Tag Team Championship. In a 8-minute match, EC3 defeated the former Alex Riley, current Kevin Kiley Jr. by submission. Then we had La Rebellion, which is Bestia 666 and Mecha Wolf defeating Blunt Force Trauma, which is Carnage and Damage, managed by Aaron Stevens by DQ. That's what I like to see, a world title match on a pay-per-view and in disqualification. Then we have Chris Adonis defeating Trevor Murdoch by technical submission. Camille defeated Angelina Love by pinfall in a no DQ match. Sion with Austin Idol defeated Homicide, retaining the NWA National Heavyweight Championship. If I remember correctly, Sion is Robert Anthony, former Egotistico Fantastico. And then we have Tyrus defeating Matt Cardona to retain the NWA World's Heavyweight Championship after Bully Ray interfered. He was serving as a special guest referee. Marcus. Sadness. The NWA once had so much potential, and now it's just one of those shows that I am always surprised when they do another big event or live TV taping or what have you, because honestly, my goodness, this is trash. Are you going to watch the show at all, or did you watch the show? I don't think you did. Maybe you did. Marcus, did you watch the show? Will you watch the show?
Yeah, I dig it. I mean, it's got a lot of intrigue to it. And, yeah, they're mixing some stuff up, which is interesting. What about you?
I may check it out to see the Alex Riley's return to wrestling. But outside of that, I don't know. I really don't. This is a very weak roster. Well, it's good to see Angelina Love back, doing her thing.
Yeah, she's one of the interesting parts, yeah.
So then we have EC3 officially signing with the National Wrestling Alliance. Are you more or less likely to watch the NWA now that EC3 is in town?
Well, it's even less now. Let's see, I guess control your narratives down.
I would imagine. Which obviously, because like the entire company got signed by the WWE besides Flip Gordon, so like, you know, that wasn't gonna have legs for too much longer. And thank goodness, because that was a terrible looking promotion. I don't know if what was I even thinking about? I don't know if EC3 is going to keep this gimmick the way it is. It's not working, but we'll find out. Lastly, we have Devon Dudley talking about his reasoning for leaving the WWE. He was on with WrestlingNews.co Steve Fall, and he talked about the departure from the company. Quote, a friend of mine, how long is this? It's not that long. A friend of mine, a wise man, once said that everything has an expiration date, regardless of if it's going so good or not. Everything has an expiration date, whether it be life, because everybody has to die, you're born. All right, we're going to skip that. Well, you know, there were certain things, and I can't go into details with it, but you could agree to disagree on certain things, and that's what it was. I think it was just time to move on and do something else. I have other projects. I have a car detailing business in Florida. I have the 3D Academy in Winter Park. So I thought maybe it was best that I just concentrate on those things and to move on. I'm very happy and grateful for the time I spent, not only as a talent, but definitely a producer. I was very happy with the time in NXT. I'm going to be honest with you, I'm not taking anything away from the main roster, but I love NXT. I love those men and women down there. I think they are a great bunch of guys and girls. I don't want to start mentioning any names, because if any of those names see this and I don't mention their names, I'll probably get heat with them, laughs. I know I would be mad if I worked with somebody and they forgot to mention me, But no, I loved everything there. It was so great, and it was a great feeling. I just didn't. I hated to go. I really hated to go. He then addressed the rumors that Devon's inclusion in an ECW tribute show had something to do with him being fired. Battleground Championship Wrestling featured a match between Bully Ray and Matt Cardona, with Devon advertised as appearing in Bully's corner. PW Insider said that Devon was later pulled from the event. Let's see. There's more to the quote. Then we go on. Timothy Embler, the Battleground promoter, initially claimed WWE sent him a legal complaint about Devon's appearance, but later said he had more talks about the situation and it was a misunderstanding. F4W Wrestling Online, F4W Online, said that the report, later reported that Devon went through John Cone in talent relations to get the booking, but Bruce Pritchard later got wind of it and canceled it. Ultimately, the matter went to Triple H, who was rumored to threaten Devon with being fired if he did the appearance. So Devon goes on to say, "Let me say this: no issues with Triple H. Triple H did not threaten to fire me. What a lot of people don't know, I did not speak to Hunter directly during that. But no, he did not threaten to fire me. It was just, again, a miscommunication on the dirt sheet writers or whatever, but that was not the case. Again, I can't go into details right now, but again, Triple H, they have shirt out there that say, I'm a Paul Heyman guy. I'm a Paul Heyman guy because he helped me with ECW, but I'm totally a Triple H guy. I can't begin to thank that man enough for everything he's done for me. He was the reason I became a producer." Marcus, Devon, gone. Do you want to see him pop up in Impact and reform Team 3D with Bully Ray?
Much as I like Devon, him helping to get Bully Ray more screen time is a no for me, dog.
What was that? No screen time for who?
Yeah, him. As much as I like Devon, him helping to get Bully Ray more screen time. The quote the legendary. Well, I'm almost grabbing on his name. It's a no for me, dog. Like, yeah, it's not.
Oh God, what is his name?
Randy Jackson. Yeah.
Yeah, there it is. Randy Jackson. Talk about a white name. Every time I hear that name, I'm like, who? And then I say, I'm like, wait, who? So, I would be fine with it if it got Bully Ray away from the main event scene.
Yeah.
Because we kind of have to look at it like this. Bully Ray's not going anywhere, at least for a little while. So would you either rather see Bully Ray and Devon doing table shticks or seeing Bully Ray flood the main event scene?
It'll also cut down on those two jabrones that he done hooked up with. Who are those dudes?
The good hands. You're in good hands with Allstate. I don't think you are. Well, I mean, maybe with Allstate, but not with those two. I'd be all right with it because it could give you some interesting tag team matchups. You know, I wouldn't mind seeing Cardona's, not the Cardonas. I'm sorry, Brian Mars. The major players taking on Team 3D. Have a reunion with Davey and Eddie versus Team 3D. I think that would be fun. Because Davey Richards' contract is up.
Mm.
Well, it's coming up, I should say. I think it's coming up in March or May, I think. So it's one of those where he may leave the promotion that he's currently with MLW. He may not. He's always said he liked MLW. But I think there's always that opportunity of going back to Impact and maybe finally winning that world title that may appeal to him. Maybe he wants to win the world title in MLW, but right now Alexander Hammerstone's not giving that belt up, and he may be giving Roman Reigns a run for longest title reign over the last year or two. So we'll see about that. So I don't know. We'll see what happens there. With that being said, is there anything else that has tickled your fancy over the week that you want to comment on before we bid each other adieu for the week?
Let's see. Anything happened? I know there's something popped up recently on the thing about people complaining about wrestling fans, I guess, overcrowding these performers in the airport.
So what ended up happening was a group of 3 or 4 fans found Rey Mysterio's flight, went up to him, I guess, before they either bought tickets or they met him at the front of the airport because you can't actually get past the front gates anymore. As a kid, I remember walking right up to the flight deck, like where everyone was boarding, and like watching planes take off. No ticket needed. Just walked up and did it. So I think there was two big to dos. One, it was about these guys hassling Ray for signed autographs so they could sell these merchandise that they bought. Ray signed a few things, but only like one per person, just because he's Ray and he's trying to be nice. And like that's fine. Like Ray did the absolute right thing. I don't like the idea of people profiting off of people's other hard work. That's why if I was ever famous, I would only ever do selfies. I'll take a selfie with anyone, but I'll never sign anything unless it's for charity or what have you. You know what I mean? I've thought about this, even though I'll never be famous. But the other big complaint, and this is from a YouTuber that I sometimes watch called Russelllamia. He complained about these guys photographing and taking photos and videos of Rey Mysterio without a mask. He's like, that's so rude. And I'm sitting here, Mark's going, this little fucking motherfucker ran around for 4 years with no goddamn mask on. We know what he looks like. This whole thing of him covering his face, it's dumb. We know what you look like, Ray. Like, unless you got like some weird plastic surgery, like, stop. So, like, I don't know why some fans were mad about him being photographed without his mask on. He was on national television sans the mask. And it's not like he has, like, some facial deformity. He doesn't need to hide his face. Like enough. It would stop being such a fucking little... I don't want to say snowflake, but stop being a little snowflake. It's fucking 60 degrees.
Yeah, and this is always interesting, too. Like, I couldn't imagine. And I'm right there with you about your point about if I was famous, I'd only sign stuff for like charity and stuff like that. Just take selfies because it's like, people pop up in your face with so much merch. It's like it's overly obvious what you're trying to do.
Mm-hmm.
Which was that the Ray, and he even kind of commented here like they don't let us sign, and I'm guessing they don't let them sign stuff unless it's like regulated through them.
That would make sense.
Yeah, which makes all sense in the world. We know how possessive they are in general. But I think they showed a video of the same happening with Liv. But it's just got to be a hell of a thing. Like nobody likes going to the airport specifically after, that pre 9/11 airport, that's a different experience. And I'm not somebody who flies like at all. So hearing you talk about it, it's like I couldn't even imagine doing that now. Like seeing anybody that free in the airport.
Marcus, you could literally meet people at the airport bar as a night out. We had a bar at the Hopkins International Airport. It was literally the Cheers bar. It had the Cheers logo. You walked in, they would have the theme song playing. I'm sure they had other things, but people would literally go there on the weekends. But of course, after 9/11, it was like, nope.
Yeah, it's a thing. We get it, but it's just it's like two different, almost like two different timelines, honestly.
It really
But
is.
yeah, it's
This may be the darkest timeline. I'm not sure.
But it got to be a hell of a thing because when those guys are moving through airport, they really be moving because they have to be these places, and that's like ironically enough, that's like the only thing I think the company pays for is those flights. I think.
WWE, I don't think pay for their flights.
Oh, I thought it was they just didn't pay for their rooms.
No, I don't think they pay for anything.
Oh wow. But yeah, but they really be moving because they be hitting those cities. Um, so you got to be a hell of a thing being slowed up like that. You're already exhausted, you're already tired, and then you kind of getting mobbed a little bit. Like, hey, you need to help me. I'm about to make a killing on Amazon. I need your help or whatever, or wherever they sell that stuff. So I get it, but yeah, the Mysterio mask thing was a little ridiculous because it's not like he's never been seen without his mask. Like this. No.
Not
We know.
only has he been seen without his mask, we've seen him with the Scott Steiner chainmail helmet before. Like we've seen Ray. It's fine.
Yeah. So yeah, that's about it for me. Just be everybody listen. If you do happen to come up on some of these guys in your town or city or airport, just be respectful. I know a lot of times you get overexcited and kind of just want to either have a moment or get caught up in the emotion of it, but try to read the room sometimes. Most of those people try not to be rude, I would imagine, unless it's Orton or something, or some other people, a couple other guys. But just be respectful and remember these are people too. And imagine being in a space and kind of getting ran up on by some nutso stranger who's like, I need you to make me feel like all my investment is you and being put back into me. Like, yeah. So
Well, fan is just a shortened term for fanatic.
yeah, it is.
So last thing before we leave, it's a quote, little tweet quote. Brian Cage, quote, "Tonight was a memorable night. The night my daughter was watching wrestling on the fridge." That's a thing. "And looked back at me and asked, 'Can I do that when I grow up?'" Proud smiley face emojicon. Now that's adorable. Brian Cage's daughter's probably like 2 or 3, maybe even older. But I just think it's weird or maybe awesome that she's watching wrestling on the refrigerator because smart fridges are a thing and I don't know how to feel about that. That's it. That's the last thing I want to talk about. We don't actually have to comment on anything about it. I'm just saying. Smart TVs with wrestling on it. Okay. So, for Marcus Green, I'm Chad Portman. You can find us on the Twitters at Chad Nerdcorp, CHADNERDCORP. You can also find me on the Instagram at Chad's Photo Hut, CHADSPHOTOHUT. Marcus is on Twitter at ParadoxKid, PARADOXKID.
That's me.
You can also find him on his other podcast. It's The True Penny Show on Twitter. You can find the links for the show on their Twitter account. It's TRUEPENNYSHOW. Check that out. Website, realnerdcorp.com. You can find all of our past shows on the website at realnerdcorp.com, REALNERDCORP.com. We're bringing back Making an Impact. Marcus and I will be watching 2 episodes of the weekly Impact pay-per-views from back in the day because I've seen them several times and I want to know what Marcus thinks of some of this nonsense. So that's going to be a new trend. It's going to be an every other week thing. I will probably we'll record them all the same, but I think we'll upload them separately, I think. And then we'll also be doing more deep dives on singular topics coming up. That'll be either next week or the week after that, depending on how much Marcus can watch of the old NWA TNA first 2 pay-per-views between now and whenever. So, for Marcus Green, I'm Chad Porter. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for checking us out. Thanks for giving us a chance. Remember, as always, to watch more wrestling. And Marcus, take us home.
Good night.